Hey everyone, Josh Merhar here, and today I'm going to show you a few different ways you can practice to become more creative on the drums. There are many different approaches and different ways to practice creativity, and I'm not claiming that this is the best way to practice creativity, but it's definitely a way to practice creativity. I find that by practicing with certain restrictions, you're forced to explore in ways that you may not have thought to otherwise. As a metaphorical example, let's say you're driving to work. You follow the same route every single day. It's just a straight shot right up the highway, and you're so familiar with the route, you could probably do the drive with your eyes closed. And you actually did once, and it really wasn't okay. But one day a tanker truck tips over and it explodes and it takes out like 60 feet of highway in both directions, and it happens right before the exit you usually take to get to work. Bummer. So you gotta bail off the highway one exit sooner than you usually would. Despite driving past it almost every single day, you've never actually taken this exit before. So you're really surprised to see, just off the highway, there are these lush green rolling hills. There are snow-capped mountains in the distance. There are cascading waterfalls and rivers and streams full of life. There are vibrant, blinding rainbows everywhere. Completely overwhelmed by the beauty before you, you pull over and you jump out of your car and you collapse to your knees, sobbing uncontrollably, just profoundly impacted by the ethereal landscape that's been only 20 minutes from your shitty apartment this whole time, and you had no idea. That's how you're gonna feel after you practice this stuff. Also, you were super late to work. So I'm going to break down 3 different ways to restrain your practice. We're going to have physical restriction, reflexive restriction, and sonic restriction. First, we got physical restriction. So I'm going to remove a couple things from the drum set, thereby physically restricting the number of options I have. I do not mean for you to physically restrain yourself in any way. But by limiting the number of choices you have, it forces you to place more intent behind each stroke, and it forces you to try different combinations of sounds you may have overlooked before. And really try to experiment with this approach. Like, how would you play the drums if you didn't have a snare drum, or hi-hats, or a ride cymbal? Next, we'll try some reflexive restriction, which is fighting the tendency to let muscle memory take over. I like to make little challenges to practice this restriction, so to start, just begin by improvising or noodling a little bit, but never play a kick and crash on beat 1. That may seem simple enough, but you might be surprised at how strong that urge is to end fills with a crash on beat 1. But you gotta fight that urge. Another way to practice reflexive restriction is to limit how far you can subdivide beats. So try practicing without subdividing a beat any further than 8th notes. So no 8th triplets, no 16ths, nothing like that. Doing so forces you to make better use of space while still encouraging more intent behind everything you play. The last restriction is sonic restriction. Now the name's a little deceiving, I just called it sonic restriction so it fits better with the other two, but sonic restriction isn't really a restriction at all. What I really mean is get away from sounds that you're used to. Try preparing your drums and cymbals a bit and find ways to incorporate other percussion instruments. I have this dope little mini gong I like playing on, I could put a splash cymbal under one of the crashes, I could put a ching ring on the hi-hats, I'll play on this busted up cymbal I pulled out of the garbage, I'll play on a water bottle. Getting different sounds from your kit will inspire all kinds of new grooves and ideas, and it's also just fun. By placing these kinds of restrictions on yourself, you're forced to explore the drums in all sorts of other ways that you may have never tried otherwise. So give them a shot and see what happens. If you like what you saw in this video, check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description below, and follow me on Instagram @drummerhar to see more videos of my playing. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.